Hi, welcome back to the Currency Podcast. Paralysis demons are going to wake and bake your sleeping self, or your body, or your between state self. The part the aware you're like almost awake. Paralysis demons are gonna come out. Like whatever bad things are gonna happen. The forest you're gonna get. Like, whatever happens in the forest is just going to happen at your house. Your house is the forest now. I'm just talking about, I'm just getting on your nerves. Not really. I'm making you nervous. I wanted to make you scared. It's not even that hard to make people scared nowadays, because all you have to say is paralysis demons. People think that you're being literal. All I have to do is say paralysis demons are going to haunt your colon and the inside of your veins and your arteries and your brain as well. And so they're going to make you paralyzed somewhere in your body, maybe like below your ankles, like just your feet. And it'll just be like, you'll wake up and just like, oh, your feet fell asleep because you were sleeping on them weird. And but then a paralysis demon will show itself to you in its full human form. But I'm just like, when you thought that it was all over, and then that part isn't a dream, because that would be a way to get out of the horrors of the situation, and that would be too obvious. You're not going to get out of real life problems that easily. So watch out. There's people that are coming to get you, and maybe you should have locked your doors or whatever. I'm just trying to, watch out for that. Don't forget about robbers. But I'm not the one who created robbers. I'm just bringing you, I'm just bringing you the news of it. Hey, but it's kind of, let's find something we can all agree on to talk about, because of sharing and going to the community. And maybe you're like part of a group of people, or you're like maybe where you come from, where they do it where you're from. And when people go out, they're like, I'm going to get something from the store. Do you want something? When I come back, and everybody does that for each other. Maybe you do that in your if you're from West Virginia, or if you're from Texas, or a couple of other ones like Mississippi, of course. Mississippi is that's where I go to cast judgment. Mississippi is where I go to relax, just take a load off, blow off some steam. I go to Mississippi. That's my crashing place. It's my place to land. It's my safe space. I like to go down to Mobile, Alabama, which is near that, and think about going into Mississippi from being in Mobile, Alabama. And so the Dixie Chicks, they changed their name to the Chicks, and it's like they're like, oh fuck, what, you thought we was from Dixie or something? What'd you think? We wrote Traveling Soldier about American? No, we wrote that about the Pakistani military, Sorry, that's a bit that I do, and it goes really bombishly hard. It goes really hard in a negative. It goes really not that hard. It goes soft. That joke goes really soft. And but it's like the Dixie Chicks win international, and now they're just the Chicks, so they're just from anywhere. So they're just from Denmark or whatever. So they're like, no, we're not the Dixie Chicks. We're from Azerbaijan. We're just three girls from Myanmar. Duh. What'd you think? They're like, we're from Norway. Damn it. We ain't the Dixie Chicks. Where the fuck is Dixie anyway? I ain't seen it. I don't think they drew up any borders for Dixie. It's just down there somewhere. So now like Jelly Roll is just gonna be Roll, or just anything. Avenged Sevenfold is just gonna be Sevenfold. Now my name ain't. I never said nothing about jelly. My name's Roll. Nah, my name is Roll. I didn't. So like Tiger Woods is just gonna be Woods now, which is a bad name for a golfer, especially like if his first name was in the water. And Woods, if he was in the water and woods. It's a good thing that he was Tiger Woods. It's a good thing that he wasn't Cheetah Woods, because then he would have like rushed on every shot, and he would have hit it way too hard, and it would have just been like, a cheetah is too aggressive. You have to be more like a tiger. Tigers are more introverted and lions are more extroverted, somebody might have said, and I might have heard it correctly. Somebody might have said it. I go to Dunkin' Donuts a lot. That's one of my favorite places in on the planet, and then in the universe, since we don't know if there's any other life anywhere else for sure, even though there probably is. And there isn't, just because Elon Musk doesn't want there to be, and Elon Musk is like doesn't want there to be aliens because he just wants us to all forget about that as long as we go to Mars. But that's just one of the issues in today's world. So like you run into worldly problems and issues, and it's to the detriment of society and societal values, and the issues that get brought up in society and within the communities aren't always communicated within the communities, that the neighborly groups of people aren't able to connect over issues of finding each other, finding themselves in each other's situations, and finding love for each other. Within when you find issues, it's kind of stems from a lack of love that can be found connecting people over their problems and over their issues in the communities and in the societies that create those communities, to foment a culture of societal values, so that people will have love for each other. I think that it's up to the leaders in our communities to figure that out. That's my opinion, is that I think it's up to the leaders. I think it's up to the leaders in our communities. Anybody who steps up at any level. I think that it's up to the youth group leaders, to the Sunday school teachers. I think it's up to the Muslim kindergarten teachers. I think it's up to the people who work in factories. Anybody who takes leadership, all of the essential workers. It's up to the essential workers, and now I'm not being sarcastic anymore. The essential workers got to step up. The essential workers is everyone. That's the point that I'm making. I was disguising it as something else. I like to misrepresent myself. You were like, "Oh, he's just talking some bullshit." No, I just had a point, but I was doing something. There's a better word for it, but I was disguising it. I was disguising it up front. I was misrepresenting myself. It's just that I wish that I could go back in time. I wish that you will find peace and solace in political leanings that can be found with certain factions within the community that can be prevented with further proliferation of advocacy groups, value-driven people groups, charitable nonprofits, And I'm becoming a little bit retarded now. I'm getting a little bit slow. I'm losing the bit. I'm losing the plot. I lost the plot. I lost it. Where's the plot? Where? This is over. The plot is gone. I'm cooked. I'm crashing out. This is it. This is me crashing out. I'm crashing out. I wish that, and I don't even crash out good. That's the problem. I don't even crash out well. There's not a thing I do that's right. It's all bad. But people are like, oh, if you write left-handed, that makes you left-handed. I do everything with my right hand except for right. So I guess not, because I'm right-handed. Actually, but because some group of people was like, it's popular just to say that if you write that makes you the hand, then everyone's like, okay, that's the rule for everybody. So yeah, fuck you, rules. But let's attack the police, because everybody can agree on going after the police in some regard. And so I forget what I was going to say, and here it is. The police... You got to put on a show for them. You got to put on a show at all times. And even when they pull you over, you have to put on a show. You don't know what they are. It's just that you have to make some shit up for them. You have to be like, have some excuses. This is what I was doing. So it wasn't just, it's me being me back there, you know. I was going 58 and a 35. I should have said that that's just me being me, just me being myself, you know. Then that shouldn't be illegal, so I should be free to go. And he's like, yes, sir, you are free to go. That's really righteous, your answer. You taught me a lesson today. I'm glad that you taught me that a civilian was able to break through and teach me, a policeman, and then teach me a lesson in humility, so much so that now I'm letting you free where I should have given you a ticket. Wow, your words have changed me. I didn't know the police could be at the same level or below civilians. It's just that those are the words that we need to forecast on each other, manifest into the world through voodoo, through black magic, through weird practices. We need to overuse things, manipulate through overuse of the term, mass circulation, convince people it's popular, so everybody's like, oh, that's cool, and then everybody starts doing it, so that because a lot of people already did it. I forget what I was talking about. This is all real. It's not done in the name of filling an hour. I have plenty of things to say. I'm sorry. Now I'm just being retarded, but I wanted to talk about the police, which is that they're your friend, but you gotta, value their, belief system, because they're going to crack down on you with their society and with their faith. The police are going to believe tickets onto you. They're going to believe money negations onto you. They're going to believe debts and loss of profits on you. They're going to believe it. They're going to pray it on you. They're like, here we have like in paper form. It's a written manuscript. It's our holy word. It's part of our Bible. It's like a speeding ticket. Printed on it are all of our most sacred values. We the sacred faith, cop council, the cop, police, pig, the pig man, it's in the sky, heavenly order. And so the pig man's in the sky, heavenly order, doth declare that y'all be having some speeding tickets now, you hear? And now y'all be tripping on some $135 that you no longer have. Do you read me right loud and clear now? Do I need to cock-a-doodle-doo at you, huh? Do I need to do a rooster cry? Do I need to do a rooster crow? Do I need to do a rooster crow at your face in order for you to speed this ticket on? In order for you to buy this speeding ticket? How about when you go online and then it's like paying a speeding ticket and you put it in a cart like you were shopping for that, like that's at the grocery store. I'm gonna pick up a few speeding tickets and also some butter and also some soy sauce, rice, and a couple of misdemeanors, and then a 24-pack of Bud Light, an 8-pack of Canada Dry, and then a felony, and then I'm going to get out of, and then I'm going to leave, and then I'm going to get out of Dodge scot-free, and I'm going to bring that home with me, and then I will pay them at my leisure. I'll expend my felony at my leisure, good sir. I get off to you today. You're well off. You're well off to leave me now. Goodbye. All right. What have we learned? So the policeman is the guy that we need to be afraid of. And so bad things they wish on us, and instead we, the faith council of the plebeian, civilian, regular asses, common people, we, the demagogic council of the regular commoners, go back and pray towards the policeman. No, we're not going to pay your speeding tickets. And so we will demonstrate our demagoguery all up and down your blue and red flashing loud asses. Like, who's louder, the cops or black people? I think it's the cops, actually. And so we should really give them that stereotype, but no, they get to tell you, they'll arrest you if you do. They're like, hey, you can't have anti-cop sentiments, and then I'm sorry about racism today, or a racist joke was, a somewhat borderline racism, and then speaking about it in terms of calling it racism afterward. Let's explore the area of racism just briefly. Let's explore it. it's time to get race baited. You're gonna get race baited, folks. But gentrification, it's just like, why don't they ever gentrify trailer parks? It's the white trash. And in that case, I'm talking about, and it's not necessarily that you're white trash if you're from a trailer park. That's a really bad stereotype. Like, you could be really classy. You could be like Casey Musgrave. She was from a trailer park, same trailer, different park. That's the name of her first album, because she's just like she's one of those white trash multimillionaires. You can tell just that there's like nothing special about her because of how good and hot and talented at songwriting that she is. How personable and good at songwriting she is. You can tell that because of that, how there's nothing special about her. And that she is a trashy, trashy lady. Casey Musgraves, just the trashiest, and that's her. But I forget what else I was going to say. I was going to say that I feel like gentrification is racist because they'd never gentrify trailer parks. It seems to only be like black neighborhoods that they gentrify. Gentrification is really racist. And that is a fact, and that's a fact that you're not going to find on CNN or whatever esports websites or ESPN News or anything. You're not going to find it on the BBC or the Sky News or whatever. You're not going to find it on Alex Jones. You're not going to find that fact on Alex Jones. He has all the other facts. Alex Jones is a pretty good guy. I feel like, here's the thing about Alex Jones, and this is an aside from whatever else I was doing to talk about Alex Jones, but like, he was talking about the rollout of the vaccine for his entire life. He's like, they're planning something big, and that's what it was, and now he doesn't have shit else to talk about. Because that's basically what it was leading up to, and he's like, they're gonna plan something big, and it was like the vaccine. He was warning people about it, and Alex Jones did influence me to not get the vaccine. I'll be honest about that. And of course, why wouldn't it? It's just at certain times you got to listen to Alex Jones. And was it only him? I don't know, but he was like, no. But I feel like he was talking about that for years and years. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's Alex Jones's time to reign in my life, and he was the Holy Spirit that came into my life that I prayed to for that. So we got to pray back. We got to pray the tickets back onto the police, but it's just like you got to put on a show for them because you're under the law, and you have to, like, even just when you're regular driving, you're putting on a show to not break any of the laws. Like, when you have to stay within the restrictions of something, it's kind of like that's when you're on a stage of some kind. When there's restrictions, like limits to where you can go, and then other people are paroling you to make sure that you're doing it right, that you're performing to the law, because you have to perform to the standards of the law. And then so, like, there's the policemen. And then there's like city councilmen, and then all of those people are just policemen too. They just don't have that title. It's just the regular at our level policemen. Those ones are the ones that we have to deal with, and so it all feels more personal. It's like we want to attack them, and it's more dramatic and more emotional, the shit we get into with the police, because they're right at our level. They're like the politicians that are that level of police. Like, they're politicians that are at the lowest level. They're the police, but they're still policy enforcers, and they still run off of policy and governance. I'm giving a speech. I'm running for president. I'm running for president now. You're welcome. Ran for president, did it. Here I am. Now I am the campaign manager. Of course, I'll do all the shit myself. I don't ask for any help because I'm a bitch that doesn't ask for help, because I'm the helpless bitch, because I'm the askless bitch who doesn't ask for help very often. And then sometimes I communicate the self-deprecation when I wanted to communicate that I wanted the hype and that I wanted the love. But here's the thing, folks, is that love is the same thing as criticism. And what I find is that conservatives, and now I'm being dead fucking serious now, and conservatives love is the same thing as criticism. liberals do love is the same thing as love. And that's why liberals put out those signs in the yards that are like, love is love and hate is hate. It's a profound principle, I guess. Like, I guess it's enough to put out a sign in a world that treats a lot of things backward, where it's like they're standing up to the sarcastic weirdos in the conservative party who don't know how to treat people, where it's like they are, where they do the opposite of what somebody wants to be treated with. Oh, and so the liberals come along, they're like, love is love. Straightforwardness is what is straightforward. All things are whatever. And then conservatives are like, everything is twisted. Everything is horrific. Basically, you got to be afraid and you got to be tough and you got to be whatever. You got to have your guns and shit's going to come after you and paranoia. And we're scared. Scary. We are scared and we're scary. We're both the whole scared drama. Liberals are like, no, never be scared. I don't want to think about that. We're bitches. We're pussies. We can't. No, I don't want to think about any of the bad stuff. I just want to be good. I see myself as a positive protagonist, and I shower flowers and more flowers and money on everyone and generosity. Liberals are like, oh, wow, here we are. That's what we are, plain as day. Ain't nothing special about us. We're liberals, damn it. They're like the Dixie Chicks. They're like, the liberals are the Dixie Chicks. The conservatives are the chicks. Is that right? No, that's right. Incorrect. The conservatives are the Dixie Chicks. The liberals are the chicks. And they're more progressive and they became the chicks. They became futuristic. They were one world government. Chicks are one world government because that's all. Chicks are every place in the world. You can find girls everywhere. And that's what the Dixie Chicks like. We're going international now. We ain't from fucking where, huh? Who doesn't know what I'm talking about? Well, not anybody now, because you change your name like retroactively. We thought you were Dixie Chicks. You were Dixie Chicks the entire time for like 25 years. Oh, and the entire time that anybody knew about you were like doing concerts. We're the Dixie Chicks. And now you're just the chicks, like, after the fact. It's a lot harder to have been the chicks during that time because that's taking on a lot more. That's a lot more responsibility to represent all chicks everywhere. And so now it's a little bit confusing because you can't go back and do that. And they're like, no, we ain't from where we're fucking from. We're from some fucking where else. The first thing you need to know about Dixie Chicks is that they're from Somalia. That's where we're from. And so we're from St. Lucia, the Dixie Chicks. They're from Equatorial Guinea. The Dixie Chicks are from Equatorial Guinea now. They're the chicks, so that's the way it is. Dixie Chicks are from Namibia, and that's how it works. But they're like, the Dixie Chicks is who we is now from now on. What you think we was? You think that we was that? You can't be that. And so I forget the point that I was making, but they're just like the commoner. Most of the time it's Casey Musgraves. I'm just a dime store cowgirl. Or Gretchen Wilson. I'm just a redneck woman. They're just like, or dime store cowgirl is named for just like, I'm just from where I'm from, wherever. Golden, Texas. That's where she's from. And then in that song, she's like, sings about that. And she is a dime store cowgirl. Gretchen Wilson's a redneck woman. And they're common, but like the Dixie Chicks are just like, no, we're not from where we're from. You thought, like, we ain't true to self. This is a money grab. But then most country songs are like, they're not special at all. They're like, no, I just blew in from Stupid Town. That's right. That's all I did. I'm just from Stupidville. I'm just a girl from Buttfuck Township. And they're just like, that girl from there. I'm just you only find me in Buttfuck. You'll find me down at the dime store, the stop. They should have just called general stores stops. Like a stop. Like Wingstop. Like how the same way as Wingstop is going to be Stop now, because fucking the Dixie Chicks, now they're the chicks. You just get rid of Dixie. Get rid of Dixie and see what fucking happens. Now you got me out here. No, I remember when you were the Dixie Chicks. I remember where it is. Who's never left home and pretended they weren't from there. That's mostly just you, the Dixie Chicks. Who's never left home and pretended they weren't from Texas. They're from Corpus Christ Christmas. Christi. Corpus Christi, Christmas. Paul Christi, Paul Corpus Christi, Christmas. It's gonna be a Paul Corpus Christi, Christmas. It's gonna be a Paul Corpus Christi, Christmas. Paul Christi, Jesus Christ, Christmas. It's gonna be a Paul Christi, Paul Christ, Chris Christi, Paul Christi, Chris Christi. Down in St. Lucia with the Dixie Chicks. Paul Dixie, Christy, Chris Christy. Christmas, Christy, it's gonna be a Dixie Chicks. Chris Christy, Christmas. Yeah. It's gonna be a Chris Christy, Dixie Chicks, Paul Christmas. That's fun. I like that. That's funny. I think if it's funny, it makes money. That's my phrase. I thought that it was funny anyway. If you have a bunny, it makes money. Do you hear that? If you have a bunny, it makes money. You know about that phrase? But that's my phrase. That's what I use. If you have a bunny that makes money, that's what I believe. And that's my theory because it rhymes. There's something to it. John F. K. wasn't murdered. He is still alive. JFK is still alive. Robert Kennedy Jr. is still alive. Charlie Kirk is still alive. Okay, so I have Christian Kirk on my fantasy team. Holy crap, I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was when I drafted Christian Kirk. And now I've got Christian Kirk. What I hear through grapevine is that Kirk is the same meaning as church. And so I have a guy on my bench who's literally, his name is Christian Church. And my team is so bad that I haven't found somebody to replace him with yet. Because he doesn't score that many points either. Not because his name is Christian Church. His name isn't, but like, now he's got that Charlie Kirk stank on him because his last name is Kirk and everyone thinks he's going to get assassinated is probably the problem. That's why he doesn't want to catch too many passes. Hey, Kirk, you're not going to get shot, so get yourself open. Kirk, run the route. It's fine. No one's going to assassinate you. You're not Charlie Kirk. You're Christian Kirk. It's fine. It's going to be fine. So I had the pleasure of having a guest on my last podcast. His name is Jackson Lahmeyer. I was asking about the Antichrist. I have an agenda to maybe be the Antichrist, and so I should have just asked him directly. It might have come across as a little bit of an agenda, but that's all right. Everybody can complain about everything and whatever, and I think that it went well, and that's great. Good for me for interviewing this guy, and they came to me, and if you want to know how did I land this epic interview, yeah, so wild, how? It doesn't even matter because that's just some guy. It doesn't even matter because that's just some guy. I respect it too much if I say he was the love of my life. What a great guest. Holy fuck. I'll kiss his ass from now until eternity just because he was on my motherfucking show. I'll kiss his ass from now until eternity just because he was a guest on my fucking show. Who fucking care? I'm just kidding, though. I mean, that's what I'm not going to do because, not just because he was a guest on my show, am I going to say, yippee, yeah, I love it, yeah. People that come on here, I love that. I can hate you after you're here or before. But I had Jackson Lahmeyer on, and he's the best. I love it. I don't know what to say. It's just like I'm not disrespecting the guy. I'm just disrespecting the idea of always loving the guests just because they're on your show. Because we do things a little dirty around here. We do things a little bit different. There's a cat at the window, and I'm not gonna let it in. I'm not gonna let in the cat. I'm not gonna let in that cat. Not today. Anyway, the interview was really something. And I do respect the process and that all of it happened. And I asked him about if, like, who chooses the Antichrist. I feel like I should ask more about the Antichrist. I should ask lots of pastors what they think about the Antichrist. And that's all good. I'm just wanting to make sure that if you didn't see it, that you know that I wasn't just kissing the guy's ass. And so, not that I just, I'm saying that I wasn't just taking a side. Oh, I said a swear word, so people are running away. People are running away. They're like, this doesn't sound very Christian. The power of the cross compels you to not speak evil. And I'm like, I want the power. I unpower the cross. I do the parallel. Parallel. You do a perpendicular. I do a parallel. We worship at the foot of the perpendicular. We worship at the foot of the T. Of the T. Jesus made that T famous. He made the T famous. That's Kanye West made T Swift famous. That's the same. See, it's the same. There's always a frequency. That's the word frequency. No, it's not. There's always a unifying quality that's found across the universe. Synchronicity. There's always instances, coincidences, but incidents and coincidence. Get your incidents on when you pincidence. When you bincidence on it. When you lincidence. Fincidence on it. When you dincidence. Dincidence on them. Shincidence on them. When you shincidence on them. Rincidence, shincidence, lincidence on them. When you princidence on their fingerprints, listen in fingerprints, listen in when you're in print in your fingerprints, listen in ignorance is bliss, and when your fingerprints is indifferent. Cistern, pattern of beliefs, I give it all within myself, I live, I learn, I earn, I do it for my family to burn all of these ashes of my former advocacy groups and literary societies, finding poetry and demonstrated values in poetry again. Yeah, finding yourself in licenses and following the law. I'm going to find myself in following rules. I find myself under in the show that I put on for the policeman. I'm like a guy that puts on a show, but you got to put on a show for the police because you're under the law, and that's really good. That you are, yeah. I just find, yeah, wow, great values. You're gonna find morals. Welcome to Moral City. Actually, I'm immoral. I'll tell you straightforward, like a liberal. I'll tell you I won't be backwards and sarcastic like the conservative Christians who would just be sarcastic. I'm just talking about maybe myself. That's when I get conservative. I'm like, but being conservative is more fun because it's more of a joke. Conservatives joke, liberals don't. They're straightforward. Love is love. And so what I was telling you straightforwardly, is that Halloween's coming up. Spooky, horror, paralysis. I hope that this is the one because I started it over once or twice. I hope this is the one where I started by talking about like paralysis demons. Because it's just like, don't forget about that. Don't forget about ghosts. Don't forget about the evil that inhabits you, like the ideas that are inhabiting you very poorly, very negatively. Let me tell you a horror story. Yeah, let's do it. But I want to go into, let me tell you a couple of things about myself. Is that I watch these horror story videos about the woods and camping in the woods, and where it's just like 4 horror stories of people camping, and these idiots will go out there. It's no offense, but it's idiotic behavior to go hiking or camping for anybody. Because how idiotic are tents, like in comparison to what a house is. Like only idiots go like in tents because they're so flimsy. And no offense, I'm sorry. But if you're looking up at the sky, just look at the clouds. If you do that for 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes that you're never going to get back because you're not going to find any meaning out there. Like, we're going to go out into nature. We're going to find some meaning. We're going into nature. There's nothing meaningful in nature because it's already like, and you're not going to find anything, but it's fine if you do. It's just like, I'm just saying, like, looking at the clouds, like, oh, it's very peaceful. It's just a big waste of time, and it's scary. That's the point I wanted to make. It's scary to go in the woods, even if you're just hiking it or even if you're camping. And then there's weirdos that come by and they do these horror stories, like whatever. I just think that if you're camping in the woods, that you are maybe looking for a horror story, or maybe, I mean, you would probably be out there and be like, no, we're trying to not have any story made about our lives. Hopefully nothing happens to us. Like, what else are you going to find out in the woods? That's why we have the phrase out of the woods. And everybody agrees, like, oh, hopefully, oh, is he out of the woods yet with this batting slump, with this hitting slump? Oh, yeah, I was talking about Christian Kirk and my fantasy team. But anyway, like, I watch these YouTube videos that are like 4 horror stories of people camping. And then it's just like 3 friends at a campfire and some weird guy shows up and he's just basically smiling and he has nothing to say. Like, he's not for sure being friendly. It's just like the weirdest situation because these people are camping in the middle of nowhere. They're people that camp like not at a standardized campsite, like a campground, like real campers. And then they're doing this, like a guy comes up and then they're like, the guy walks away and then they're just like, I think we should turn in early, which is just like horror movie behavior. It's like very stupid that somebody would do that, but people would do that because like these people are dedicated to going out into nature to be in a tent overnight anyway. So they're already just endangering themselves unnecessarily. So they're in the business of doing that. So then some creepy guy walks by, they're like, we're going to turn in, and like their tents are going to protect them in case that guy does anything. Like if that guy comes by, you leave immediately. So like some of these people that go into the woods, they just want a horror story because it's basically, that's the only kind of story that you're going to get in the woods that you're going to take away with, because everything else is just like, I saw a bird or whatever. Like I saw a walking stick. And so that's just like, yeah, that makes sense given, but like if you want, why else would be, some people, this story finds them because why else are you going out into the woods? Especially just how many horror stories there are about it. How much like people go missing in the woods in national parks and shit. Like the problem, if you're keeping your eyes open and being a little bit aware of it, like the woods are kind of dangerous as far as anybody knows, because a lot of people go missing in them, and like perfectly healthy people and stuff like that, and. But anyways, okay, so like I go to Dunkin' Donuts a lot. That's one of my favorite places on the planet. Let's talk about some news and notes. MGK, I don't know, he's going into this whole cringe thing. Where is cringe edgy? I think that it is not. I think that it is not. The way that he's doing it is too much. It's not exactly the right kind of cringe. Cringe is a fine line. You can't just do cringe for cringe's sake. You have to be, you can't fall under its radar too often. MGK is falling under the radar of cringe a little bit too often. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose. I don't really know. In my opinion, as far as I can tell, he was completely edgy all the time until his most recent album, Lost Americana, where he's like, I'm just going to make feel good pop songs, essentially. And that's what people like he's not even doing pop rock anymore. He's not even doing rock now. He's like gotten even that less hard. He's like, I'm going to go softer and softer. Now I'm just making pop songs. And so I guess he thinks that softness is the way to edge. And so maybe that is like, maybe being more of a beta is more likable. Maybe that makes you used by people more because that's what people can trust. Maybe in a conservative environment where they're used to bullying people, the only kind of person that they can trust is somebody like Shane Gillis, who everybody can bully. And so like when it's a conservative environment, they'll trust you if everybody can use you. You don't stand up for yourself and whatever, like a Theo Von or whatever, you know. And so the thing is that it used to be like Theo Von and Chris D'Elia are at the same level of fame and success in 2019, and they're like peers. I guess you could call them rivals, but this is like the heyday of podcasting or whatever, like the origin stories of it. If you care about that world at all, which is like a pretty patriarchal or whatever. And just to tag the word patriarchal, I don't really know what, just feminism too, or whatever. I'm on the side of women too, or whatever. Tag for a group of people to identify with me. And so relatability. And so Chris D'Elia and Theo Von used to be at the same level, but then this thing happened where Theo Von started to turn Christian and started to turn moral, like he's doing it for the good of everybody, of like speaking well and then like trying to cut down on swearing and saying that drug use is bad, like doing all of these like following the rules along with Christianity, along with the current environment, like conservative Christian environment. Like Theo Von rode that wave of being more conservative and just kind of went that because he probably is that. He's like from Louisiana. He's just tapped into his conservative roots. Chris D'Elia is not a liberal. And so like the environment, the cultural environment chose Theo Von because he's acting more Christian, whatever. He's just like, so he's pretty Christian, and he moved to Nashville, which is pretty, I mean, country singer. It's pretty fairly Christian city. Tennessee is so Trump country that I would say that Tennessee is significantly Christian. Is it statistically significantly Christian? It might even be that close. I would say that your statistically significantly Christian states are like Mississippi, and that's it. And that's all. I mean, Indiana's pretty Christian. I don't think it is as Christian as Arkansas and Louisiana. Louisiana is pretty damn Christian and darn tootin', and don't you forget about that. And so, among other things, don't forget about. Yep. So I'm in a guillotine league, and it's really one of the most one of the greatest things that's happened in my life is being in this guillotine league. It's the most fun thing that I've done fantasy wise, where it's just whoever is last every week. You start with a group of 17 people. Whoever is last in points for the pool gets eliminated, and it's just like regular fantasy rules. It's just that it's not head to head. You draft the same way. There's 17 teams. We're 5 weeks in. I'm still in it. 5 people have been eliminated. But the best part is that the roster of the team that gets eliminated, they get put up for free agency, and then you bid on the players. So there's always good players in the free agency. So you have to bid well. So there's a lot of strategy. And I care about it way too much for it being such a simple thing. Like, just don't be last. It takes up a lot of my time, and it takes up a lot of what I think about, and I'm proud of that fact, and I wanted to state that for you today. But the Packers, I was at a Chick-fil-A, and I was door dashing at this Chick-fil-A, and I went in, and they were like, you have to go through the drive-through. Yeah. I went in, and they were like, you have to go to the drive-through for DoorDash orders, and I was like, I've never had that happen to me in the middle of the day. I've been into plenty of Chick-fil-A's. They've never done it this way. I think the guy was mistaken, but I was like, okay, I did it anyway. He was just like, yeah, if you have a DoorDash, you go through the drive-thru here at this Chick-fil-A, and it was the middle of the day. I've never had that happen to me before. And so I went through the mobile through line because it's a mobile order, and then I went and I waited. It took maybe about 3 minutes longer than it should have, and then she came out to my door. She was like, hey, just so you know, if you're DoorDash, you have to go through the drive-through line, and the drive-through line is a lot longer. And of course, I wasn't going to go through that. And I was like, no, it's a mobile order. And I just wanted to say that I wanted attention. And so I sought to embarrass this worker in this moment by having a linguistics battle, or a battle over the law and rules, and because she lost or whatever, because it's like, I've never been to this Chick-fil-A before. They don't have this rule at any other Chick-fil-A, but whatever. Of course I don't know the rules, but first of all, more importantly, the rule doesn't matter just because she's like, oh, all I have is the rule. And I was like, mobile orders are DoorDash. That's the way that it's identified. Mobile order, DoorDash on the phone. Drive-thrus for the regular people that just come to the restaurant, right? Mobile order is for people picking up mobile orders. That's the drive-thru line. And that's what I was saying to her. And all that she had, because she had no argument, she had nothing. All that she had was a rule. She's like, well, you have to remember that rules are better than everything, no matter what the rule is. As long as somebody made a rule somewhere and enforced it on some group of people, that rule is better than any person's emotions or emotional values. And so it's just like, you get somebody like Charlie Kirk. He's not really he's just kind of like a truth seeker and a nerd. And so that's not a guy that we should love. So I wanted to talk more about how, shit, what was I just saying? Did I get to the end of the point of what I was just mentioning? I don't remember. Conservatives treat love like it's criticism, and that's really great. This is something I wanted to talk about. And then it's like, I'm a liberal to say that I'm immoral. And I am a conservative to say that I am moral, because that would be me being sarcastic, because I'm not moral. But the conservative one is more of a joke. It's the same as Christianity. But what I was talking about before, when I was talking about that conservatives are gay, I wanted to bring up 3 other points to corroborate my point, because I was being serious. Even though maybe it's a little bit of a, I mean, it's just like that's an episodic entry. That's an episodic there. That is what is contained in that period piece that I shoved onto the internet. That I forced onto the I forced myself onto the internet in the episode that I made called "Gay," and it was a tale that I told you, and it was a lot of fun, and it was very it's like symbolic, representative, because it's kind of like fake, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of gay, especially when it's gay. Gay is very fake, and it's just that like gay is very fake, and then it's the case that you shouldn't equate gay with homosexuality because it's not a verb. Gay, you can't gay somebody. And so somebody is playing a joke. Some group of people is lying about this issue. To be like, yeah, gay is the same thing as being a man and fucking another man. That's gay isn't a verb, it's an adjective. And so it's really like there's 100 adjectives that would get you off the standard that gay is the same thing as homosexuality. Like gay is weird, it is just as much true that gay is weird. It is just as much true that gay is happy, the same thing that it used to mean. But here's the thing is that I can't think of another word that has that kind of timeline where we cut off happy all of a sudden, and we're like, even though that's the relationship that we were in with the word that we were growing for hundreds of years in relationship to this word, building it to mean like happy or something. But the thing is that it's just that like the way that it works is that the Christians are the misfits of the world, and they steal away into the church so that they can not be criticized by the world. Just like generally speaking, they're the ones, and then they're the ones that take sin seriously. Like they made sin famous. Because they're the ones that care about it. The rest of the people in the world that don't go to church, they don't take it that seriously. Like sin, they don't care about, like being called a sinner doesn't mean that much. There are people that take criticism very seriously because they're more afraid, they're more like insecure about it. They're more the spazzes of the world. They need more love than other people. Christians, like I would argue that they're more childish because they resort to, because like criticism means that it's the end of their world more. They gotta impose that on other people. And so like, it's a little bit like that. The rest of us in the world don't spaz about things, but Christians will like lash out and they like make it that being gay is the end of your world or whatever. They like manipulate this definition. It's more so they do that with things because they like commit themselves to an eternal whatever. But it's basically, I just wanted to mention that. Yep, I went into Christian rhetorical antagonism again. That's all right. I slipped into Christian antagonism. But basically Christians, it's the same thing as gay as they do, but it's like why wouldn't we just say gay is weird? Or there's too many adjectives that are nearby gay because gay has a lot of things, a lot of descriptions that it can be, like unreal or fake or even loserly or uncool or just weird or untoward or futuristic. Like going into uncertainty, like surprising, shocking, strange, like that you could name it, that it could be like, why wouldn't it be all, there's 100 things that it is besides homosexuality is a verb. First of all, it's not an adjective. Fucking another person, this is an instance like being homosexual. It's homosexual is another adjective for it. It's homosexual. It's not homosexuality. That's kind of the difference. Then that's all that I'm saying. Gay is homosexual. It's not homosexuality. And in 200 years, we'll be able to call Christians gay because they'll forget about this whole ruckus that they created, because we'll figure out the truth eventually. But it's just like the same thing as that you can't call Christians demon. Christians are the ones walking around saying like we have a spirit living inside of us. And like, so they're the demon possessed ones. As far as we have any evidence for demon possession, we don't have evidence for demon possession anywhere else in the world. All of it is just like scattered stories of it happening. Christians are walking around, they'll tell you directly, I have a spirit living inside me. They have demon possession for real, or like spirit possession, and that's just like what it is. They carry on with scary things just right out in the open. And so like, that's why The Exorcist is de facto like most people agree is the greatest horror movie of all time, and it's titled after a Catholic priest. It's just like horrific things emanate from the church. They're walking around with like demon possession happens right out in the open. They're the ones being gay, like loving a man for all of eternity. They're that right out in the open. But like you can't call them gay because they're the ones that aren't. They're the ones that hate gay people. They're the ones that are known to be against them. Or like Christians. I mean, Christians have been given the keys to determine what a gay person is in some regards because we've decided they're the ones that aren't that. So like they get to cast judgment apparently. But in reality, the thing is that nobody is above being called gay. We should be able to call everybody gay. And you can call Christians gay. It's just like a little bit harder. But like you see that I go out and say it. I don't really know. I mean, obviously they can't ultimately care about being called gay. And they're kind of like, I would say that it's only when you have a group of people that big where it's like 32% of the world are Christians, are they able, or however many percent are of the country, like it's probably even higher in the nation of America, the percentage of Christian people, but they have the ability to manipulate a definition so hard that it has to be that way for all of the rest of us. And but like they're gay out in the open, they're do demons out in the open, but they're the ones that you can't say are witches because they're the ones that hate witches, they're the ones that hate evil. So no, they're not the ones committing horrific behavior for real. But like that's kind of what The Exorcist is about. It's contrasting the solemn, somber life of a Catholic priest walking through joyous neighborhoods and stuff like that, like of regular people, and then he has to cast out the demons of like a secular girl basically. And it's like Christian, and for some reason this is the greatest horror movie of all time. It's because people are unable to articulate the scariness of Christian communities in their backyard, the cross people, and like the somberness of it. This movie communicates a picture of that, and people were like fainting in theaters and shit like that because it's probably because it's so true to our world, I think. Because horror movies are kind of like the really good ones are bringing forth an analogy of something true in the world. There's something that is happening somewhere, and not just like based on a true story, but like whatever it means, whatever it represents. If it's a really good horror movie, it is like true to life. Like reality can be found in it, where it's like a situation that's scary can happen. And these are the sermons of me being scary or scariness or whatever. But it's like I'm scared a lot. If like so you might think somebody is scary who is actually just scared, like they put out scariness. It's just because they're scared or whatever. So they're putting up a front. But like, same as Chris, they're the ones like it's the same with sin. You can't. They're the ones that don't sin. They're the ones that hate it, and so you can't. No, they're not the ones that sin. All the rest of us are the ones that are sinful. All of the rest of us are liable to be called gay, not Christians. They're the ones that don't do that because that's against their belief. For some reason, we've given these people the definition, and they make up 32% of the world. It's a dangerous community. I mean, they're not really dangerous. They're sort of peaceful. I guess everybody's fine with it. But and the reason that you shouldn't be fine with it is because they're going to criticize you into thinking. I mean, they're going to be backwards. They're conservatives. You don't want the conservatives to be in power. Watch out for the conservatives. It's just that they do run the world, and then they make all of us like live under their judgment. Like the rest of us are carefree. They have an agenda. They have to have it play out a certain way. They're just taking things too seriously. And it's like for the rest of us, that is a joke. It is like depending on where you stand, you might be able to. I'm just kind of telling you about how it's more of a joke, what they do, and that the rest of us are a bit more outside of it. Whatever. That's really great. And so whatever else, but like Christians do, like love is criticism is what conservatives do. Love is what liberals do. And I kind of do both of them. I feel like for me, it's almost like love is the same thing as criticism. And so I realize now when people try to criticize me that it is actually that maybe like those people love me or whatever. And it's like hate is the same thing as love. And yes, hate is the same thing as love. And I got to please, when I make an episode like Jackson Lahmeyer, I got to please the haters, and I think about the haters while I'm making it and afterwards, and that's why I'm like a usable beta like MGK is becoming. That's why I'm a usable beta. You can use me for whatever because people buy up territory in my head. I don't know that I would even trust you if you didn't have people buying up territory in your head. Like, that's not a joke. People do live in my head rent free. It's almost to the point, like, maybe I should be charging some of them for rent. Like, I got to go back to them and be like, by the way, isn't cool or whatever. And, but like, people do live in your head rent free. People live in mine. And those people that bought up the stock, like, I'm their servant. I love them. They're my haters and or my lovers. But it's like, love is the same thing as hate. But for conservatives, love is the same thing as hate. For liberals, love is the same thing as love. And so the haters about up territory in my head, they're my stockholders. Like, of course I want to please them. I love them or whatever it is. And so you should have people like that. And so by this point, it's kind of hard to love most people about the territory. There's still some territory there. And I'll even get rid of some people and whatever, open up the territory for more people or whatever. I'll change or whatever. I'll make it that they were paying rent and then they had to leave, because if I'm the landlord, that's the thing, you know. I'm not crazy. They're crazy. If I'm the landlord, then I can evict you whenever I want. I'm living rent free in your head. Oh, you're paying, like, okay, I'm not charging you rent, but you realize that relationship is landlord to leasee or whatever. Tenants. Well, I'm the landlord and I could get rid of you whenever, and I open up that territory for future stockholders that believe in my mission for when I become president, because I talked to one guy from the world, from whatever you saw who that guy does, what he is, and you got to pick up his book, Chasing After the Wind, and I'm sorry that the end of it cut out. Whoops. What the fuck, Zoom? I logged onto a Zoom account. I didn't know that they had a policy where they just automatically cut off your thing at 43 minutes. It's not. I scheduled it for longer. It's not my fucking fault. I scheduled it till 2:30. It cut off at like 2:13 because Zoom is like, okay, your meeting's ending. Bye. Because I just haven't Zoomed ever. And so that's why you can't blame me, and nothing's my fault. I make plenty of mistakes. I misrepresented myself when Terrence Agasha Davis commented something on a video I did with Josh Ostroff. Interview I did, the first one, it got brought back into people's feeds. Terrence Agasha Davis commented like, "Oh, this interview has the potential to be one of the most unhinged things on the internet," and I was like, I responded with something sarcastic, like a conservative, and really what I wanted was the hype. I wanted the hype train. I wanted it to be like he was praising me for it, and I misrepresented myself. I made a mistake. I said something to point to self-deprecation, like, oh, you should make fun of me rather than compliment me. What I wanted was the hype train. I derailed it. I was like, oh, I have a ticket on a different fucking train because I was an idiot and nobody liked my comment, and they were right to not like it. And that's a mistake that I made because I just wanted the attention. And that's why I told that story about Chick-fil-A, is because I wanted the fucking attention from the worker to embarrass them. I'm wrapping up the threads, and so I argued something. So, and basically, she's going to remember that a lot more than any other person, because most people just follow the rules, or they hear a rule, they're like just going to comply. But she didn't have an argument. She was talking about the rule, and this was definitely misidentified. And it's almost like I'm pointing you in the right direction to even bring it up. So it's like I definitely have a point. So she definitely remembered it. So I embarrassed her. Mission accomplished. I got attention in a random situation that makes me a really annoying person. I'm trying to cut down on doing that. And once I recognize that I'm doing it, once I recognize I'm somebody who wants attention, I did want the attention. And I'll try to not be somebody who makes everything a weird occurrence in public. But it's like that paranoia never goes away. It's been like that my whole life. I'm always paranoid about regular interactions with strangers, like at grocery stores. The paranoia never ends. Always be afraid. Don't forget about paranoia. Don't forget about hauntingness and the movie The Shining, and what it means to you, and God's good graces as well, and the spirit of Jesus captured in the basement of churches, locked up in shackles, his name graven on somebody's hands and shit like that, carved, his blood spills out. Don't forget about the lamb that Wath slain. Don't forget about the lamb that Wath slain. His name is Jeethuth. Jesus is so sus. He's so thuth. Don't forget about, oh, his blood runs forever red through the fountains of history. Like, oh, the blood fountains were blood red on the day of his bloody death. That hymn. Don't forget about the hymn when Jesus's blood was greater than the Pacific. Don't forget about that hymn. I love singing that. When Jesus' blood was greater than the Pacific, I saw him on a ship. He was floating there at sea. Don't forget about the peace, the love he has for us, and his word endureth for all ages. When the blood that was spilled from the cross came out and said, I will fill greater oceans than the Pacific. Yeah, so take that, haters. Wow, I proved my point. Yes, good for me. Yeah. I'm gonna die probably pretty soon. All of this will be over. I will run out of things to say. God loves me. God loves no one. Satan loves you. I can't stop. I can't stop. I won't stop. I'm just like kind of the Miley Cyrus of it. I'm the Miley Cyrus of men. Bye. Right, see you later. Bye.